Alors, c'est parti. Check. 1, 2. Bonjour. Ça va? All right, let's get this started. Welcome to the first episode of Move with Kyuta Klinger. In today's episode, I sit down with the one and only Lorik Cana. He was described to me as a caring friend and a passionate historian. One can easily conclude that he is one of the most admired and cherished individuals internationally and certainly within the Albanian culture. We start our conversation with him discussing the importance of core values. We then talk about his early childhood and how his father was a former professional football player who played at the highest level in former Yugoslavia and was part of the golden generation that Kosova had in the late 70s and 80s. We talk what the most important strength that everyone has. We also discuss the difference in the top professional leagues that he excelled at in the UK, France, Italy, and Turkey. We also talk about what it meant for him to represent Kosovo wearing the Albanian uniform. How sports has historically been an important tool to potentially resolve conflicts without having to fight. We also talk about his LC5 foundation, which consists of two arms, one promoting sports, and the second promoting cultural heritage, and a recent documentary that he was involved in called UTHA. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did.
I'm dead.
I was having coffee with actually a close friend of yours, Imva Mula,
Oh,
the Albanian soprano. And
the diva.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And when I told her that I was going to sit down for this podcast with you, she was like super happy. She was, already describing you as such a caring friend, just a gentleman. Like, she had the highest of praises. And whilst doing a little bit of, let's say, work to study, your career and all this, and asking just people about you, everyone seems to have the highest praise about you as an individual, even before like what you have achieved professionally. So how does that make you feel? Like, that is quite special, I would imagine.
And I think it definitely, let's say, it's the biggest gift, if I can say so, or the biggest reward, when actually the people around you, starting from your closest people you have around you, which means your family and friends and partners, but mostly even regular people you meet on the street, actually still after nearly 10 years after stopping the professional career, still are very warm on meeting you, and always with let's say very kind words. And I think behind the legacy you can leave on your field, in my case on sports and professional football, I think what you leave behind as a human being and the values you're promoting are definitely the most important. And I always try, first of all, to do and behave as I've been taught, starting from my grandparents and my parents and my family and those values. And I try to put those values in every step and every step of in all my way as a person, and then being able to be a professional football player when you play in all these big clubs, and you definitely have something very important to not only to share with people, but to trying to, let's say, lead by example as for you as. What is important for you outside of the pitch and outside of the technical skills and sports achievement.
Sure.
And because I think in the long way, this is the most important, and this is what people actually like the most. So if I have people, and in this case friends, it's always very good, and it's still it means like you did something right.
I wanted to start off then kind of with your introduction to football. So your childhood, kind of growing up here, then eventually moving to Switzerland. So maybe you could kind of describe how that kind of started, the beginning with your journey.
Well, the journey, I said I was pretty, it was something pretty natural. My dad was a former professional football player. He played in the highest level here in former Yugoslavia. He was part of that, let's say, that golden generations that Kosovo football had in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
He was part of that Pristina gold generation with the former president of the FA, Fadil Vokri, which was the
name of the stadium.
The name of the stadium which we had now, which was the biggest star at that time as an Albanian, and at that time, living in former Yugoslavia, and especially on those years when actually you could see like there will be the starting of what's gonna happen later on with all the political situation and the conflicts. At that time, the Albanian, let's say, the Albanian identity was something which was always, let's say, a little bit coming after every other, let's say, components of the former Yugoslavia, as maybe a smaller and a less influential, less important identity. Maybe one of the part of Yugoslavia was the less developed, maybe with the less focus on regarding the Serbs or the Croats or the Slovens or the Montenegros or the Macedonian. Albania has always been seen like something like a, let's say, a second level of the society. And at those time, I really think sports, and in this case mostly football, has been used as a tool to actually high our voice and make our voice heard by, not only by in Yugoslavia, but let's say in Europe, to say like we are here, we are able to do some amazing things. And at that time, my dad was part of this golden generation who achieved to come up in the first division of former Yugoslavian league, which was at that time one of the best in Europe.
Yes,
because some of the best players, stars, were playing still here. At that time, you couldn't leave Yugoslavia before your turn, I think 26 or 29, I'm not really sure. So all those amazing players until that age were all playing here in Yugoslavia. So you have Red Star Belgrade and Partizan and Dinamo Zagreb, all these great teams. And Pristina managed to get promoted, and actually being one of the identity, one of the symbol of like we are here, we can do some amazing things. And my dad was one of the part of this golden generation. And then when he turned 29, he was able to go and play outside. And at that time, the conflict started. And I started school here in '89. And then when the situation was really escalating, he actually I finished the first elementary year here in Pristina. Okay. And then he took us to Switzerland as a refugee after the conflict started, and then we stayed. I grew up for 10 years in Switzerland, and then my dad's second career was focusing on making it happen that I can follow his steps and become a professional football player.
So he was like really a driving force.
He was the main reason.
Okay.
It was the main reason. I mean, his goal in life, of course. He saw like I have some kind of passion about the game, that I have a minimum of skills, but I have the right mindset to try and do something. If you look at the probability of a young kid which is passionate about football and making it happen to turn professional, is nearly 1 to 10,000.
Yeah, it's incredibly small.
It's incredibly small.
Yeah.
And if you want to do in the highest level, it's starting to become 1 to 30,000 or 40,000 if you want to reach the Champions League and things like that. So it's very insane when you think in that way. But I had the possibility to grow in an amazing place, which is Switzerland. It gives you all the opportunity to actually study and became a try to become a football player in those difficult times. And myself, I see an opportunity through football and through my passion, trying to help my family at the time and trying to help a little bit more people through football first. And then when you realize you can achieve something bigger, then you try to understand, you see how I can use that to actually represent the place where I'm from. So at that time, until 2000, I lived in Switzerland. We were not able to go out because when you are a refugee, you can not leave
certain
the place.
status, right? Yeah.
So you have to be there. But we were lucky. We always lived in our community, the Albanian community. We were all together.
Yes.
So that helped on keeping the language, keeping the culture and the tradition. But being able to grow and to trying to give you the possibility to become a professional football player, then I had that opportunity to make a trial in Paris, and then everything started from there.
Would you say because of the circumstances, right? Like, did that force you having to relocate to Switzerland? That force you to mature a bit faster, and then also kind of take this opportunity a little bit more seriously?
Oh, 100%. 100%. When you were leaving and you are a kid in Kosovo from the 80s, you understand very fast that things are not very easy always. I had my mom's family involved in politics, so they were very, let's say, active on the rights of the Albanian community in former Yugoslavia. My granddad was one of the parliamentary which actually declared the first independence of Kosovo in 1990, and then with all the repression of with the police after that. So at that time, when you're a 6 years old kid, you don't understand everything, but you actually can understand when you have some people of your family which actually go and they have to hide because people are looking after them. So you are 6 years old and you have people coming and say, if they ask about your granddad, you don't know where he is, you didn't see him, and you cannot trust anyone.
Yeah.
Serbo-Albanian. So at that time you understand things are not the same. Then you see the protest of the students in the 89. You see all these things and you understand things are not. But then at that time you don't realize if it's normal or it's not normal. And then you go to Switzerland.
And then
you see completely another way
world,
to live,
right?
a different world. But very, very fast you understand the luck then you have to be there, and the luck to be able to study and, in my case, play football in the best conditions. So then you understand that you have to do something with that opportunity. And of course, having this kind of thoughts and this kind of way to think very young, it builds not only your body, but it builds your mind, and it makes you for sure much stronger for every kind of all your path, any kind of obstacles you can have after.
There was in a previous, I think, it might have even been a podcast or at least an interview. I remember you quoting, "Can you slam a revolving door?" And I think you were trying. It was a metaphor for like, don't limit yourself. Kind of really like you need to have the mentality and the heart to kind of keep pushing, like almost an immovable object, right? And is that something that I mean, also I think with the circumstances you're naturally forced to harden, but like, was it like a muscle that you actively kind of were training yourself like throughout even the days of Dardania, Lausanne, and when you were a kid?
Well, actually, a lot of in our past, I think the most important strength that everyone has is the mind. I think if you have the right mentality and right mind, and it starts from your core, from the core values that you have, and what you expect from yourself. Whatever you do, there is of course the people around you, which can be started in your family, and then later on you have your family and whatever close people around you, and you absolutely try to do the right things for them, how you've been taught, how you've been educated. But every let's say exchange that you have, or every how I can say, every challenge that you must have, you have it with yourself. You don't have it with someone else. You don't have it to actually trying to show something to someone, or trying to behave in a certain way for someone. You have to your biggest, let's say, how can I say,
Almost battle, is it?
Battle.
Kind of? Yeah.
It has to be with yourself. When you know exactly what you want, how you want to be, how you want to behave, it starts for yourself.
Then it's just steps towards.
It's just steps towards. Because there is in myself, I've been raised in a family that we trust in God. We are not the most religious people. We are not the most practical people. But we know there is a God, and for me, there is only two elements which are the most important to actually being and talk. First is God, and the other one is myself.
Right.
I have to be able in the next morning to say, did I do something which I was able to do? Did I do the right thing? Can I do more? And everything starts with yourself. And if you are okay with yourself, not trying, because sometimes we hide behind people, behind obstacles, behind difficulties, behind everything. But when you actually can see yourself and say, okay, I did my best, or I know sincerely I did my best in everything, then it's a pretty good start on knocking every obstacles that you have on knocking down, because then you are good. I mean, you if you are good with yourself, then it's without hiding. In Switzerland, it has been the same. For example, a lot of talk about Dardania. I never played in Dardania. Dardania is the Albanian, the club of the Albanian community. My dad was the coach in Dardania. I played all my childhood in Lausanne Sport, which is the biggest club in there. So I started in a pretty club, in a very small club near Lausanne, which is called Schuzo, which is a small village 10 kilometers north of Osea. I played 1.5 years there, and then for 8 years I played in Lausanne Sport, starting from the U10, U9 until the U16, and then everything started, and that was my club. But we were very close to the community, because at that time in the 90s, situation was very tough, and the community was very close to each other. Yeah. So and Dardania was the club who actually represented the Albanian community, and we had those cultural places and activity and restaurants where we all let's say came all together, and it was actually, even in difficulty, you are a refugee. It's true, you cannot leave the country, but you have everything what you need. At that time, you don't understand how lucky you are always. Yeah. But then you see that it has been an amazing possibility for everything, and for a lot of Albanians in Switzerland has been a very important place.
I mean, it's the valuable support network, right?
It is. Yeah, 100%.
So then, when it comes to sort of, you mentioned the mindset, heart, technique, talent, or attitude, or mindset, which one would you say comes first?
Oh, mindset. Mindset, there is no doubt.
Yeah.
Because in everything what you do, I think there is always limits. There is limits on your technical stuff. There is limits on your physical stuff. Whatever you do, example, if you have a certain speed, the speed, you cannot improve your speed. At a certain point, you're going to reach the maximum. What you can improve is the time of reaction to get as soon as you can at your maximum. The maximum speed, there is nothing else. It's nearly impossible for a human being, when he reaches maximum, you cannot go over that. Then you can work on the time reaction. You can work on many aspects of your strength to actually. Technical stuff is the same. You have limits. The mindset has no limits. This is the key of everything else.
And that starts with that, and then everything else.
Absolutely.
Now, I kind of want to jump into your professional career. So you've played for several clubs.
Yeah.
Paris, Marseille, Lazio, Sunderland, Galatasaray, FC Nantes. Could you maybe describe a little bit the key differences between the different leagues, like the playing style as such?
But I think I started my first professional season was 2002-2003 in France. But I always started, I think I was one of the first generation when you actually get to a football which became more than 20 years ago, more universal. Mm-hmm. I think before that, on the 80s and 90s, you really could have seen the way of playing football very characteristic, very like a label, like if you see that kind of football, is that place.
Yeah.
I think after the 2000s, the different way of thinking football and playing football trying to get a little bit more universal.
Yeah.
Because coaches were moving all around, the way of thinking football, the training skills, the programs, starting to be very universal.
And different players
moving on, coaches more moving around,
okay.
And the FIFA, UEFA training programs were starting to get a little bit more
consolidated.
Okay. So, but still you could have seen a difference. I grew up myself as a fan of Olympique Marseille, because I moved to Lausanne on the French part of Switzerland, and at that time in the 1990s, for the French-speaking side, Marseille was the biggest club at that time, even worldwide, playing a Champions League final in 91, losing it in penalty against the Red Star Belgrade, winning the Champions League in 93. So I grew up with that generation, and Marseille became my club. I was supporting that club.
Jean-Pierre Papin and those
exactly.
Guys. Yeah.
So from the early 90s, that was my club. So I had one dream in my life: if one day I can wear that shirt, that would be something amazing.
Wow.
So my path took me, of course, and then to Paris. I had this amazing opportunity to go in such a big club and play for that club. But for sure, the French league is one of the best leagues. I wanted to try at that time, which is still the best league in the world, is the English Premier League, because the way the stadiums are, because the way the people live football, it was fitting very well with myself. So you could have seen already the French football is very fast, but you couldn't see like in England it's even a little bit more faster, because it's the way like the fans are living the game makes everything faster. Then you go to Turkey with an amazing huge club as Galatasaray. Then you go to Italy, where you still then see a little bit difference on the approach, on the preparation of the game, more focused on some details, being very careful on the defensive side as well. So you see a new approach. I went to Italy. I was 28. I already played in big clubs and playing Champions League and everything, but you still keep learning.
Sure.
So it took me all around. I've been lucky to live in some amazing places. So city like Paris, Rome, Istanbul, which are some of the capitals of Europe. Myself, of course, growing up with as a fan of Marseille, I had a pretty different connection with people there. The club, everything was different for me. But I always try to pick a place where actually the passion is very high and the support for their team is very high. For me, it would have been very difficult myself to play in a club like Monaco. With all due respect with Monaco and all achievements and everything, but playing in a place where actually you have an half-empty stadium or not that fan base, which is huge, would have been very difficult. So I always trying to go to some places where the passion is very, very high.
Right. You speak several languages, I think 7, if I'm not mistaken. Is it? Or at least 5, 6?
Let's say 4 very good and 3 half.
Okay. Now, in terms of like those languages, the communication, whether it's with your trainer, like with the fans, the teammates, how important was that, being able to speak those different languages?
I think it can be crucial. That's a little bit the the very good side that we have on with our profession. It takes us to many places, many countries. When you learn new cultures, you definitely are focused on what you do. So on your game, on your profession, on your passion, but then how people live around it and how people live in the city, and of course not only the language but the society. And you pass from big cities as Paris, of south of France, which is completely other way to live and are. Then you go to the UK, and then you go to Istanbul and Italy, amazing places with a long history. But very multicultural places you can find it, which is Paris or the UK, and it's very interesting. I think it helps you, let's say, grow your experience, grow or just grow as a human being. I mean, and it helps you in every kind of, even now after football, you have a very amazing net of friends and places, and you. With my kids now and with my boy, I'm able to tell him how it is, and when I take him somewhere, so I'm even more able to explain to him what are the difference, so he can understand. But no, for me the journey was absolutely amazing, and it's I think we are very lucky to be able to actually live this kind of experiences.
I mean, communication is, regardless, is fundamental, right? And then I guess in terms of, again, within your teammates, or especially the coach, when you're coming in from a new club, like you're sort of the new kid on the block per se. Already in my profession, for working, let's say, one-on-one clients, for example, there is the objective reality, for example, when I'm assessing how someone moves, and then there's also the subjective reality of like what the person wants, right? And then that has to kind of come together to creating an intersubjective reality, let's say. And the more that is aligned, then there's buy-in, right? Then it's not just, I'm just doing some random exercise. I know what this is for to kind of move me forward, right? And I think that probably happens also because, coaches have different coaching styles, teammates, different 100%. Playing styles, and then you have also the strategy, and all of this has to kind of come together, right? It is.
An example, in my case, when I was very, very young, on reaching the highest level, and then you can understand sometimes, let's say, the different programs, and more we were going forward. I really, let's say, experienced when actually the training was switching to individual as well. Because like everything was making in groups, in teamwork, but I was really part of that kind of generation where we're actually going and trying to do individuals. Actually, when you do the preparation pre-season, before, until the 90s, it was pretty more on different kind of groups or the team. Then starting from 2000, you had really some individual programs about their own capacity, their own let's say, position on the field, and their individual and particular request to play that position. All your capacity, your physical capacity, when you can improve in aerobic, anaerobic, your strength, or this person, and then the technology was coming after. So everything was starting to become more individual. When actually working more on the individual, then you can improve your performance, and you can improve the team as well. So I experienced that time. And then you see some different way to work sometimes. In terms of technical stuff, as I said, it became very universal. In terms of preparation, training preparation, athletic preparation, medicine was evolving a lot.
Sport medicine,
Smooth medicine, doctor medicine.
Recovery.
So everything was in a way which is much better, much faster, to trying to get you more, because the number of games was increasing. So 30 years ago, you played 35, 38 games.
Maybe just the league and a cup kind of thing, right? And then now you get Champions League and everything, right?
Now it's double. So you have to be able to respond to that. But it was very interesting. Or sometimes you see a different way to train. I mean, the switch in England, they train in the same way they play. the intensity on the week on the practice was absolutely amazing. Same as the game. Other places it wasn't like that. So you had the moments when you had to be like put in everything like on the practice and 100% at a certain moment of the week to prepare the game. But in England, everything was very high intensity.
Okay.
So it's a different way to think, and some you can see this kind of difference. But I really experienced myself when actually everything was trying to focus, help the individual improve his own skills and physical skills as well, to then respond better on the ground for the, let's say, for the common interest.
And I would imagine after each season, the more experience you gain, you realize sort of, okay, what are my positives? What are things that are areas that I really need to improve on? And then, you know, on top of that, also probably like how to manage. The season is harder, longer, more intense.
Season is harder, longer. Then you get older. So you try to understand how your body, what the message your body gives you, and you see sometimes you put together a protocol when actually you wanna focus on something or you wanna strengthen something, and you see it's not responding very well, so you try something else. During the years, there is some new technical which helps you. For myself, all my career I struggled with an injury with the knee. It was never an injury when actually I had to stop for 6 months or 9 months, but I had to let's say deal with my cartilage. I was 17, 18 years old in playing with the second squad in Paris. I got an injury on my menisc, and I had a very bad injury on my external menisc, which is always more pain in the ass, if I can say so, than the internal one. As you know, the external one keeps you not only from this, but keeps you for the rotation as well. So after that, I was very young, playing a lot of games. My cartilage was suffering, so my knee was swelling all the time, and it was a constant, let's say, work on strengthening my quad and my to support it. And I knew, like, sometimes if I'm not focused on helping on nearly daily, I know on the weekend I'm going to struggle because the knee, my strength won't be exactly the same. But sometimes, you know, for 15 years, you understand what you have to do. You have to be careful. You have to, but when you have something which like that, it makes everything much difficult because you have to focus then on something specific.
I think one thing that people forget or kind of glance over is that while athletes have, you know, some of the on some areas some of the healthiest, let's say, biomarkers, if you can call it that, right?
Yeah.
But what you do as a profession, or what you were doing, is not natural, right? So you're almost sacrificing your body to achieve those, you know, the wins, the victories, the championship, right? So 100%. I think that kind of goes over where it's like, oh, you know, people just get to turn on the TV, see you play, done, you know, and then
it's and you understand it when actually, as I said before, your body talks to you. When I started to turn, I started very young. I mean, as I said, I stopped my career pretty early. 1 month before turning 33, after the European Championship in 2016 in France, for health reasons. But already after you're 31, 32, when you wake up in the morning, whatever you do and whatever you recover and whatever you do after a certain age, especially when you have behind you nearly 550 games, official games.
Let alone
whatever you do, you wake up in the morning, and the way you wake up and stand up from your bed, you understand, like, there is a pain behind there. You know, sometimes
a price that you're paying, right?
There's a price you're paying. Like on my last couple of seasons, until I get the warm up done, the pre-session in the gym. And then outside, until really the body was warm, it was painful all the time. Then you understand, like, your body is talking, is saying, like, kind of, please help.
Speaking of you mentioned 550 games on the official count. You are Albania's most capped player at, I think, 93. You've captained them for a long time. What did that mean to you, like being the captain as well, and being for so long, being able to represent your country?
That's something that came very, very natural. When I started with the Albanian national team, I was one of the first players from Kosova. And before me was Besnik Hasi, which is the actual coach of Anderlecht. Was Arben Beci, another player from Kosova. But we were the first Albanian from Kosova. And for us, it was as important as the football side. For us, it was very important to actually represent for the first time, being able as Albanians from Kosova to represent our nation with that flag. Because we were coming from a reality when Albanians couldn't, let's say, promote their national identity, cannot promote their colors, cannot promote their nation, cannot promote their flag. We were living in former Yugoslavia. And for us, being able to actually represent, as Albanian from Kosovo, represent with our national symbols was something amazing. It was even more something, let's say, symbolic, as giving something of unity between a nation which has been divided and half of it living outside the border of the Albanian state. And for me, we never represented Albania as Albania. Not only was Albania, because until we played there, Albania never had a national team. Albania had a state team of the Republic of Albania. For us, it was not a thing of representing Albania. For us, it was a symbol of representing the Albanian nation, and just to show, to lead by example, like we are one nation, and this is who we are.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, the most important part. And this was very, very, very important to us to play, and trying to give an example, like all together really can do something amazing. And the Albanian national team from Albania, half of the team still today, but even in my time when we achieved the first success, half of it was outside of the border of Albania, from Kosova, from North Macedonia, from the Albanians in Switzerland and in Germany. But that was the most important. Important is we want to do something together. That's why.
Okay. Now, this weekend, well, by the time this is announced, it's going to be past, but there's an important game, Albania versus Serbia. And the last time the two countries played, you were captain. Could you kind of describe a little bit, especially that match in Belgrade, how that went?
Well, that match is more than 10, 11 years ago now. And we knew, like, after the draw, that it's not going to be a regular, normal game. At that time, we were in a very, 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 very difficult group to actually qualify. Maybe one of the most difficult Albania had. We were not still as in the draw. We were not even the second team on the third team. We were the fourth team. And the fifth team was not even an easy one. It was Armenia, but we had the Portugal, which after that became European champion.
Yeah.
We had Denmark. We actually never missed the qualification. They're always there. And we had Serbia, so three very good teams. One top team and two very, very good teams. Everything started in the best way in Portugal when we won that amazing game, and then draw against Denmark. And we knew at that time that the game in Serbia always going to be different for all the, let's say, political reason in the region.
Sure.
But it became, everything was a little bit risen because they saw us not only as a political side, but they saw us as on the sports side as a threat as well.
Yeah, that you guys were,
because if you are someone, like I say, you have your, let's say, problems to deal with another place or with another nation, but like you cannot match something on this kind of sports, on football, on basketball, then everything's going to be a bit easier because we know that's going to be the game would pass. We're going to beat them. They're going to beat us or whatever. It's not going to be. But when you know you actually can challenge, then everything gets...
The ante is raised, right? Yeah.
The ante is raised. Everything is much more under pressure.
Yeah.
So, and they saw us for one of the first time, Albanians, they can match them. And that was not easy for them because they always saw us as a second category inferiority people. And I think everything made it so. But we never thought, even when going then at that time, I told them many times, we never thought we're gonna have problems. Let's say we're gonna have a threat, physical threat, because we know there's gonna be the security was they agreed on security matters, no away fans. Not even at one moment I thought we're gonna be threatened like physically. There's gonna be
it'll be hostile.
It will be hostile. Okay, they can throw some stuff. They can insult you. That's not going to be the first place. It's going to be other places. Most of our players, even the players from Kosova, don't really understand the Serbians because they are too young. We were only 4 players understanding what they were saying, whatever. I mean, that's not a reason when you cannot play a football game. But then when actually the game stopped, then we realized only after what happened that we were actually really kind of in danger. But no, nothing. It was just a moment of the event when we actually showed our best values, not only on the pitch, on the game, but even how we reacted and how we protected each other.
Yeah.
And it went until the qualification. So that was an amazing path. Now we are a completely different situation. Unfortunately, not different situation politically, when we have a lot of things to deal with each other, when there is a lot of process. And hopefully, I say it many times, I prefer to leave another situation for the next generations, that the one we have and the one our parents had. But for this game now, I don't think we're gonna have some security issues.
Okay, so you're hopeful that
100%.
Because it's sort of, sports and politics, despite the efforts of probably most international organizations and leagues, they want to really separate it, right? But it's sort of, especially on the international level, once you don that uniform, by default, it is political, right? For good and bad, right? It can bring things closer, and also sometimes it can bring things apart.
It is. It's a very important and heavy tool. I mean, sports, starting in the antiquity, sports has been made to actually deal with some problems.
Yes.
Without having to fight. So it says it all. I mean, we are not inventing or reinventing something.
No.
Sports has been made in a certain way to actually challenge yourself and challenge the others, and without sorting things without having to fight. Because you put everything which is your core into a field when actually we can deal with each other in a different way.
Yeah.
So then you represent your country, your nation, your culture, your background, everything through sport. And football is the strongest tool. Is the one who actually have billions of fans and most important focus. And when you have the mass, which is focused there, passionate about that, following that, concerned about that, following, cheering, shouting, sometimes insulting, whatever. Yeah. You have everything in there. It's a 360-degree game.
Yeah.
George Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw said football is the art on compressing the universal history in 90 minutes. Because there is everything inside.
Yes.
And there is absolutely, you have starting from politics to actually schools and teachers and programs and values and sacrificing and everything. Culture, and it actually is. Football is really an art on compressing 90 minutes.
It's an incredible vehicle.
It's an incredible vehicle, but and sometimes you have this big responsibility. Now we are in a situation when you're in a situation when actually, in this case, the matter that we have between Serbia and Albania, we have to deal between Kosovo and Serbia about the political side and trying to find an agreement, but the history and the past is in front. We know like Kosovo is an independent state. It's going to be an independent state. The best way is now to find the best solution so the next generation doesn't deal with the same problems as we have. The Kosovo is not going back how it was, and we all know that's not going to happen.
How do we move forward? Right?
But I really think deeply, Albanians and Serbs in Kosovo has as much rights on staying here and having and considering that land their land, but not in the way the Serbs was thinking. Like at a certain points, they're saying, "Okay, guys, you have nothing to do," and starting a really cleaning, of ethnical cleaning of the place, where actually we shared with them hundreds of years. We are with them a little bit earlier. It doesn't mean like we don't belong in the same place. How long? Sometimes people go to a new place, and after one generation, they consider some of that place. People switch continents now, from Africa to Europe, or from Europe to South America, or to North America, or to Asia. And after one generation, said, okay, my roots are there, but this is my land, this is my place. When you share hundreds of years, you have as much rights as the other one to consider that yourself. But when you have 90% of your place, which is from ethnicity, and those people have the universal right to actually decide how they want to do, how they want to live, and their values they want to have, it's completely normal. You cannot go against that. Kosovo has his past. He's going to go. It's a free country, and we are part of one nation, which actually always been very divided. But I think now, especially having such a young society, I think it makes it very, very important to actually deep very fast and not being pulled back by all this.
Yeah, because then that kind of stifles all the growth that is possible,
100%.
right? And it's such a young country,
100%.
which is one of the strongest assets, if you can call it
especially
that, right?
this generation. If you sacrifice this generation, I think it's 70% of the country which is less than 25 years old. We have to go forward.
Yeah,
it's important.
And for a brighter future.
100%.
Right? So, knowing what you know now, sort of, if you could go back, especially like looking at your professional career, would you do anything different?
You always can do it different. Okay. But I always consider myself very, very lucky to be able to make my dream and passion become true. So it's very difficult to actually your passion becoming your profession, because when you're able to achieve that, you wake up every morning, you go to work, but you don't feel you're working.
No, it's a different feeling. Yeah.
And you just enjoy it all step of the way, and you have all these peoples and young kids dreaming about achieving it, and you're there. It's an amazing thing. But then you have a certain point, some choices you could have made a different, some achievements when you were there very closely, like winning the title with Marseille. It's an amazing thing, achieved some amazing stuff with Marseille, but winning the title and never did that step, which is it was very important to me. But in the other way, I achieved some stuff with the Albanian national team to qualify when it was not even thinkable. Yeah. And in most of it, I'm pretty lucky. I'm very, very happy and proud about the journey.
In terms of sort of like, because as you mentioned earlier, sports science, the different tactics, the players are evolving, like the sport has advanced incredibly, right? 100%. Like all the, let's say the data that you can collect now, sort of, would there be kind of something that you wish you had known then, sort of like maybe mobility or sort of strength training, or kind of, because the science has really 100%. Pushed forward, right?
Yeah. You are dealing, especially sometimes I see in myself, it can be, let's say, make copy and paste with other players or profile or individuals which suffer with some problems. Yeah. If there is some technical stuff that now, when I had it when I injured my knee, and being able on the first years to actually understand what is important for me, for my body, and for my let's say for my balance, how actually an injury can completely change the way your body stands.
Yeah, because you start to compensate.
You start to compensate a lot, and you have all the problems that you understand. Like I had my knee, but I nearly never missed a game, maybe a couple of games, because the knee was swollen, because I was taking care. The problem is, at a certain point, you focus sometimes because you focus sometimes on your problem, but you don't understand always at the time that compensating your body turns and you have another problem because it's compensating. And I missed 1.5 months on the other knee.
Sure.
Because it was compensating too much. So then later on, you have some things when you have some cameras, when actually you put your body and you can see how it works, you can see how much pressure you put in other inside to see how you can compensate.
Yeah.
Work on making your body learn something new.
Yes.
And with the new technology, you can actually work on your body, and as you know, it's been probably very good. You can teach your body go in a certain way when actually help you. It's not going to become as it was before after an injury, but help you actually stay strong in the best way. So in that matter, for sure, and then some side on the medicine with some technicals who actually helps you on regenerate some cells of your knee, which are different now that it has been 20 years before, for sure.
Yeah, as you mentioned, like our bodies are so resilient and smart, and we're such good self-organizers that it will figure out, okay, there's an issue here, but this, if we kind of do this, then we can maybe overcome that and then kind of adapt.
But it always the body always make himself for a regular life. Your body never gonna do it in a way like to stay performed. Your body gonna move to say at that time, it's not gonna stay three steps forward. Your body always want one step to another, as a chess.
Yeah.
Because it deals with one problem after the other.
Okay, yeah.
Your body, if I say, just tell you something, your body is never gonna have a problem on your right knee, and you're gonna say, I'm gonna try to solve it, the right knee, to compensate the other side, and you're gonna have the problem on your left knee. But after that, you're gonna have a problem on your back, because your hips and your back, and you're gonna have a problem because everything moves. But you're probably never, your body at the first time is never gonna move to the second or the third problem, because you're always adapting on a certain way of life, a certain real life. It's gonna make you, okay, not la, but you have to do that. Sports medicine helps you go in a much longer path, so you can focus on performance.
Sure, and things are becoming much more specific, right?
Exactly.
Back in the day, maybe the analogy would be you throw a bucket of paint and you hope what sticks, right? But now it's like, okay, there's a certain issue. This is the intent or the outcome that we want.
Exactly.
This is what we have to do.
You see it more on the biggest picture of the thing, which now helps you a little bit increase. The only thing which still sometimes it has to work, and I see it on my personal experience, when it cannot, and I think we have the capacity, sports worldwide now, and trying to prevent some other even more important issues, which is the heart problem issues for the young kids and things. So still, you see young athletes being under not feeling well, being let's say having a flu, regular flu, having a virus on their body, small regular virus, not letting the time to recover, pushing themselves when they still have the flu and we still have under temperature, and this come with big consequences sometimes. I had it myself, so I had to stop for my heart problems. And sometimes you see young kids, I mean, you never know, the chances are very low, like a regular fit young player or athletes get a problem. It can happen.
Yeah.
Because
I think
it can happen.
We see it happening more often.
But if we can prevent on giving the right messages, then especially when you are under a state when you don't feel well, not push yourself too much, and then with controls, because now we have more, we can do the
screening,
testing, and thing before every season and everything. It has to be mandatory, because we cannot let things happen in 2025 or later on because we didn't check them.
Right. Before we move on to kind of talking about sort of future plans, your foundation, I have one question, sort of like, if you have any advice for younger footballers, what would it be?
There is not one advice. The only thing is
couple.
just enjoy their every day. if they have their session, everyday session, or when they have this session, just enjoy the best of it, because things can change very fast. Everything can happen in life. When you are healthy and you play football with your friends and you can enjoy and push yourself and stay into sports, it has to be a tool when you can follow you all the way. You turn professional or not, but just enjoy every training you do, or every game that you just enjoyed, and take the best of it, because you're always going to get something of it, especially when you're into sports, into football.
Yeah. Okay. After retirement, sir, was it difficult to adapt to life without football? Did you look at yourself differently?
I think it's an important and difficult step for every professional football player. In myself, I knew a year before that I'm going to stop, so I had time to prepare. Even while playing, I had time to prepare on that's going to stop. I had one little bit less, because I knew I'm not stopping because I don't want to anymore. I had to stop because I couldn't play anymore. Sometimes it's more difficult, but sometimes it's easier. So you don't ask yourself if I couldn't play 1 year more. But then in the first couple of years, then you miss it. You miss it a lot, and the thing you miss the most is the feeling, the adrenaline that you have before and during the game. And this is something, even now, nearly 10 years after I stopped, you don't find it in any other thing.
Yeah, it's something incredibly unique, right? It's unique. Like, and I think only your colleagues can understand that.
You don't
right?
find it. You can do activities. You can jump from a plane. You can do whatever else. You can do some business. You can do, but the feeling, the adrenaline that you have while playing, you don't find it in anything else.
You've transitioned sort of, like, I guess this is another passion of yours. So after retiring, to promote cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been involved in a lot of charitable work. You now have a successful foundation called LC5. Maybe we could start with what the name stands for, or the LC5 acronym, and then sort of the projects or initiatives that the foundation is promoting.
Well, LC5 is very easy. It's Lorik Cana Foundation. The 5 is the number as I always had in national team.
Okay.
So it was the number people recognize it for 13 years in national team, the number 5, and it was a lucky one for me. So I said these two are very close to each other, and they are part of the same person.
Yeah.
And I kept my name because I think it's important. It gives you more responsibility what you have your name behind.
Sure. Yeah.
But at least in the beginning, it is something people that recognize themselves. It's something of trust and values behind something you want to promote. But on the other side, it cannot go wrong, especially because there is your name behind it. We started in 2017. The foundation is on two paths. The first one is on the promoting sports, especially for the young ones. And we have our program, which is the kindergarten program, when we go into public schools. And we go to the public schools. And we have the program, which is made on 3 parts. The first part is, as you can understand, to the public schools, because everything is for free. Everything goes to the public interest. We go to the public schools on cities when the number of kids in the kindergartens is very high. Yeah. So we go them. We build them a multifunctional pitch for the kids. We bring them the program to actually work with these kids on daily basis. Okay. And then we have technical support when we go to the teachers of the kindergartens, and we actually form them, train them to be able to have activities with the kids starting from the age 3 to 6. So in their daily program in the kindergarten, they have a 40 minutes sports and activity session, when actually they started their first step into sports, teamworks, games. They starting from 4 to start some football, basketball, and everything. So everything is very smooth, and in bringing them into the world of sports and growing with the value of sports, especially for them, for their being as a kid, and then slowly bringing them into the teamwork and everything. And I think it was the best way for me to actually give a contribution in that way, because I really think growing with the value of sports and the skills of sport, not only technical way, but as a character, as a person, it's very easy. So the kids go there, they do on their basis 40 minutes. They go at home, they already dispose, because most of the parents, they don't have the time or something, the financial to get them, to send them somewhere. So, and we have 7 locations, and we are hoping this year to grow at least 2-3 locations more in Kosova. We have 1 in Kosova, we have 6 in Albania. We are looking to do something in Montenegro, all the Albanian area.
Okay.
We have an average, the kindergarten have an average between 100 and 140 kids per kindergarten, and mostly 70% of those kids do activity on the daily basis. So we have, since 2019, around 500 to 600 kids doing sports activity on the daily basis. This is the sports program. And the other side, the cultural promotion, is something which becomes more with my passion, which I try worldwide to actually promote the Albanian culture, do projects, support projects with the diaspora, with the Albanian community, with artists, projects to actually promote the Albanian identity worldwide. I do a lot in Italy, helping the diplomatic staff of Albania and Kosova in Italy with the cultural activities, doing activities in France, in Switzerland, worldwide, about everything which is helping the image of Albanians, regardless Kosova, North Macedonia, or Albania, or Montenegro, wherever we are.
You're also involved in this documentary, and I hope I'm not going to mispronounce this, but Utha, is it?
Utha,
which means road, I believe, or the way, is it?
Yeah, it's le chemin.
The path. Yes.
The path.
So maybe a few words around this documentary.
This is one of the projects we actually started with. Sometimes people have projects and we support them, or sometimes we have our own project we start. So it was something important for me back in 2023 and 2024, is to actually promote that journey, that amazing journey of the Arbesh people in Italy, when they left Albania, when after the Ottoman conquest of the Balkans,
right?
And the Arbesh left 550 years ago, and they kept their way to their culture, their language. They kept their tradition. They kept, let's say, there's Albanian identity in other land, separated from a sea, so not close to each other, for centuries, for 550 years. And then at this time now, when everything is more open, so there is freedom, you can move, Albania is not under Regis Communim, promote that story, not only in Italy, but worldwide, and promote and get some more bridges between Albanians from this side than Albanians from Albania. It was very important for us. They were very important at a certain moment of our journey as Albanian Renaissance.
Okay.
They are living now their most difficult times, because the elderly now stay in the village, but the young ones go away.
Right.
But being able to speak with them after 550 years, and there are 2 messages. The one, to promote internationally about this anthropological miracle, and the other one is to actually give an example to young Albanians, young Arbesh, as me as myself, who left 30 years ago or 20 years ago, the ones who are leaving now. If they were able for 550 years we have a kind of duty to actually see their example and promote our culture, even if we don't live in our land.
Yeah, and continue those traditions, right? So, well, Lorik, it's been an absolute honor, and thank you so much for dedicating so much of your time for today's episode. I have one last question.
Yeah, go on.
What is your next move?
Oh, I know there is no. I'm very happy because I'm lucky, because I'm trying to do stuff which actually I think I can manage my time. And this is something very difficult to do, especially when you have kids. My boy will turn 10, my girl, she's 5. And I think if you are able to spend as much time as we can when they are that age, is the best investment you can do for the family and for them. because some of the people there, they are fighting and working sometimes 18 hours a day, all the week, and they see their kids only one hour a day on the weekend side, because they have to bring the family forward and to keep support the family.
Yeah.
Myself, I trying to, if I can, being there for the kids after school, taking them to sports activities, spending as much time with them, spending all the weekends with them. I think that's the best thing I can do for our relation. But I spend most of the time with my kids, staying in Italy, moving around for the foundation activities. On the sports side, kept working for 8 years in TV in the Champions League with Albanian TV. I'm never gonna go away of sports. Trying to maybe achieve something maybe in the future on the professional side of football, maybe on helping run a club. But I wanna be able to move when I can on the business side. It was something I discovered after football. We are with some Albanian kids at that time from Kosovo. We left Kosovo in '99, went to the United States, founded a company in 2017, and that company with myself and another person from Kosovo. Became one of the most successful technology company in Kosovo, American company, which has its branch in Kosovo.
It's Code Labs,
It's
right?
Code Labs.
Yes, shout out.
So,
Yeah.
so it was one of the thing I'm even the more proud of, because with all this energy, trying to do something in the world of technology, using and trying to get the people from Kosovo, because everything is made here internally, from the mindset, the work, everything, the dedication is everything from the people of here in Kosovo, and being able to be in our sector one of the world leaders on smart building, everything made in Kosovo, and having nearly 200 people now here in Code Labs in Kosovo has been something extraordinary, and something I enjoy very much. So keep following all the company is doing some other activities on the business side. But most of the time, I said, many passions. Sport is the main one. Football is the main one. But priority is the family.
Amazing. Like I said, thank you so much again for gracing us with your presence, and it's really inspiring, to say the least, to see you continuously kind of venture into different fields, like outside of the sports as well, challenging the status quo, and also just kind of trying to maintain those values that kind of started you from day one, right? So thank you again, Lorik.
Try to do our best. Thank you very much. Great to be here. Thank you.